the new Freedom 96.9. No fake news, no crybabies, no snowflakes, just our commitment to let freedom ring. We're the new Freedom 96.9 at freedom969.com, Oklahoma's talk radio. Freedom
Weather.
Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast. This afternoon will be sunny, breezy, and very warm with a high of 97. Tonight will be clear with a low of 73. Tomorrow expect mostly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and continued warmth with a high of 98. Monday will be breezy with clouds and some sunshine, reaching a high of 96. Tuesday will be breezy, very warm and sunny with a high of 97. Wednesday will start breezy but turn partly sunny and very warm with a high of 96. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We interrupt our program with a special bulletin.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station.
Broadcasting live from the command center of Freedom 96.9 in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Fortifies, Oklahoma. Saving lives, protecting property, fortifying Oklahoma, one roof at a time. I'm Rick Allen Lippert here with Hague Certified Master Level Damage Inspector, Oklahoma Licensed Public Adjuster, Fortified Evaluator, and IBHS Fortified Roofing Contractor, Scott McCullum.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Hague Certified Roofing Inspector Scotty McCullum is up on a roof today.
He is.
He'll be joining us on the phone later. Retro Radio Randy is running the show today. He's still on probation, so we won't let him talk on the air. But you can actually,
there's an extra mic since Scotty's not here. We could, yeah, absolutely.
And let's hear from Retro Radio Randy today.
I'm not worthy. I'm just saying, I'm not worthy.
You feel so honored, don't you?
I do. I do.
I'm glad we found that extra Dixie cup.
Oh, man.
Let's see. And you can talk to Retro Radio Randy when you call 405-608-4377. We're live streaming today on the McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma YouTube channel. And Scott's waving to you right there. And you can also hear us on freedom969.com. We'll start as usual with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week. This week, words of the week. The number again to answer the trivia question or to just ask a question, 405-608-4377. Later, we'll hear from Scotty from up on a rooftop. And we'll have some after the storm tips brought to you by Roof RX, and we'll wrap up with Dad's Wisdom. Coming back from breaks, we'll have some genuinely obscure historical trivia. Now, Scott, I usually make my own coffee every morning, but this morning I went to a drive-through place.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like what you did.
Yeah.
Written on my cup, encircling 3 times around it, handwritten, it said, S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing.
You must have gotten a large today.
I did. But I want to know how your attorney knew that this morning I was going to go through some random coffee drive-through place.
It's so amazing.
That guy is scary.
That's why I pay him big bucks.
I was going to
believe me.
Okay, well, let's get started with our trivia question, and then we'll go to the word of the week.
Okay, let's do it. So the trivia, when inspecting a metal roof, which of the following should be considered functional damage of a hail-related impact? A point displaying a storm-created opening, no matter how slight. B, a point displaying evidence of physical deformation of a panel, side lap, or seam. C, a point displaying marring of the material finish. D, a point displaying significant indentation of the field of the panel. Or E, all of the above. So we're talking specifically about metal panel roofs or metal roofs This is what we look for when we're inspecting for storm-related, specifically hail damage.
Okay. If you think you know the answer to that question or just want to give it a good guess, 405-608-4377. The winner will get their choice of either a Lowe's $25 gift card or 2 free tickets to see She Kills Monsters at Carpenter Square Theater.
I saw the little clip on Channel 5 the other night.
Oh, did you?
Last
Good.
night. Yeah,
Good.
I did.
It's a fun show. It's not one for the kids. It's based. It has a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stuff going on, which in and of itself doesn't mean that it's not for the kids. But it's an adult. It's an adult, 16 and up, I would say.
Hey, let me jump back to the trivia question.
Yes.
The critical word in the question, folks, is functional.
Functional
The
damage.
critical word is functional.
So if you think you know the answer, give us a call, 405-608-4377. And let me just finish up on She Kills Monsters at Carpenter Square Theater.
Sorry about that.
Tonight, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and again next weekend. Thursday night is half-price night. But then Friday
But if
and
you
Saturday,
got a free ticket, you don't care about that.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday at 8, Sunday at 2.
Cool.
And
Cool,
okay,
cool.
so now let's get to our words of the week.
You know, I was thinking, and Scotty picked these words of the week, and I know why he did this. He did this specific to our adjusting community that we engage with in the process of what we do. So the word of the week, I'm going to use professional. And we always hear about consummate professionals. You always hear that.
Yeah.
He, she's the consummate professional. And I always thought, there's just such a lack of professionalism among people who call themselves professionals.
Yeah.
So now I'm reading the definition, and I know why I felt that way. The definition stops pretty shy. The definition simply says a member of a profession or any person who works in a specified professional activity. That's the definition of a professional.
Right.
Well, that's not the definition that I've always had in my mind of a professional.
Yeah.
So I get into the term also describes the standards of education, the training, the experience that prepare members of a profession with that particular knowledge and expertise necessary to perform their specific role within that profession. So the definition itself doesn't go that far.
Right.
Okay, it's the edification to it that takes it out to what you and I would consider a professional.
What someone brings to that profession, their attitudes, their behaviors, their actions.
It's kind of like, somebody will say, oh, I've been doing that for 40 years. And I had the opportunity this week in training some people that I got to say, yeah, and you've been doing it wrong for 40 years. Okay, so it's not about.
I'm sure they appreciated hearing that.
Well, hey, you know what? But I was showing it. They were learning. This was done in the context of it, okay. But it's not the experience. Okay, it's not doing something time and time and time again. It's that continuing evolution in terms of the depth of knowledge, a technical competency that leads you to that consummate professional.
Right.
Does that make sense?
When I was much younger, I wondered what constitutes a professional, and I looked it up, and I believe I read that if you get paid for it, you're a professional.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that was a good start, but that falls very short of being a consummate professional.
There you go. So anyway,
okay,
we'll leave it at that.
All right, our trivia question. When inspecting a metal roof, which of the following should be considered functional damage of a hail-related impact? Is it a point displaying a storm-related opening, no matter how slight, a point displaying evidence of physical deformation at a panel, side, lap, or seam, or is it a point displaying marring of a material finish, or a point displaying significant indentation in the field of a panel, or is it all of the above? 405-608-4377 is, excuse me, the number to call. Let me take a swig of that drive-through coffee. So tell us about, again, 405-608-4377.
Yeah.
So, Scott, tell us about your week. You
Man.
mentioned you did some training.
I did some training this week. On Wednesday, we did trainings for, I was training for the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code Commission, presenting to inspector community, basically.
Okay.
And we were doing a session on roofing specifically. You know, City of Oklahoma City is getting ready to begin permitting re-roofs, residential re-roofs over 500 square feet in about a week, August 1st. Inspectors really have not, been trained. They've never really looked at roofs the way that we're going to look at roofs now.
Well, they've never looked at roofs.
So that's exactly right. So we did a 4-hour training.
Nice.
We had about 47 people in the room on Wednesday in Oklahoma City. A lot of people from Oklahoma City, of course, but we had people from all over Oklahoma. That was great. We had a home inspector in the room. We had some construction industry board people in the room. A couple people from the fire community. So it was a great training.
Nice.
And really walked through the building code, Chapter 9, International Residential Code. Chapter 9 is roofing. Walked through that code, talked about what the implications of that code are, the things that are not being done now, the things that people never thought about, that they have never looked at, they've never been inspected. Nobody has ever held the roofing community to task on any of these things, and it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be an evolution. It's
Right.
going to be, we're not going to go out and slap people around and all that kind of stuff, but we are going to use this as a tool to be able to further educate and enhance and get the quality and the protections that the consumers deserve. That's what building codes are for. And so it was really, really neat. We had a great exchange in Oklahoma City. Obviously, we had that many people in the room, lots of questions. I don't get up and read a PowerPoint presentation.
Good, thank you.
I don't read the IRC, okay? I'm not going to do that. I tell them, I said, guys, if you're not going to participate in this, if you're not going to ask questions, if we're not going to engage and learn from each other, I'll sit down and read a book, and you guys can go do something else, but you're not going to get your CEUs that way. So
Okay. And with that, we'll take our first break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. 405-608-4377. Our trivia question is still out there. Just call in and give us a number, A, B, C, or a letter, A, B, C, D, or E. Take the easy way out. I'll leave it at that. You're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma, Freedom 96.9. We'll be back in a flash.
This is Chris Guanera, CEO of Blue Falcon Aerial. We're proud to partner with McRoof.us to enhance the Roof RX program. McRoof.us already has a trusted, proven system, and we're here to add an extra layer of precision with crystal clear drone imagery using the state-of-the-art Mavic 3 series. With our background in the surveying industry and as drone instructors at Francis Tuttle, we know accuracy. Our documentation supports McRoof's certified professionals so they can make the best recommendations for your roof, saving lives and protecting property, one roof at a time. Roof RX, where technology meets technical competence.
They deal with the insurance company for you, which is so nice and helpful.
One of the most important things that I prioritize is setting the right expectation, what they can expect from their insurance carrier, what ducks need to be lined up to make sure their project reaches the outcome that they desire.
I'm on the phone most of the day, talking with insurance companies, trying to resolve a claim that has not been paid correctly. We don't give up.
They were able to come out and give a full, in-depth inspection. That process ultimately led to a doubling of the claim.
He probably got me, at least on this roof, $50,000 more by my calculation than I would have gotten with the other roofers.
It goes far beyond what a normal roofing company would do. We're going to do it right.
McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air. This live show on Saturday morning, Freedom 96.9. Hey, on this date in 1692, 5 more women were hanged for allegedly practicing witchcraft as a result of the Salem witch trials in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. And then on this date, fast forward to 1860, and the first railroad reached Kansas. 1860 on this date. Okay, so we have Tim on the line with a question. Hello, Tim. Talk to Scott.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're great. How are you, Tim?
Good. Just in the process, matter of fact, we're closing on Monday on a property that has 2 homes on it.
Okay.
And this is all new to me with the roofing and stuff, but the seller had disclosed that the roof that's only a year old was a Class 4 roof.
Okay.
Now, whenever we asked for documentation for our insurance, etc., we got a kind of a plain Jane invoice that just basically said roofing OSB. It didn't say what kind of roofing. It didn't say anything along those lines. It was just numbers and a brief description.
Yeah.
Which I thought, man, this leaves a lot of room for fraud.
Yeah, that's not what you're looking for.
Well, I actually reached out to the company who did it, and though in all the disclosures it said Class 4, come to find out it was Class 3. So this is my question:
Okay.
What is the difference? As far as insurance-wise, this particular company offers also a 10-year, 100% leak proof kind of thing along with it.
Their workmanship warranty.
Yeah, and they also had what was interesting, and I wanted to get some clarification on this. It's basically kind of like a lifetime Class 3 roof. However, I was instructed that Oklahoma will only do 10 years. Can you address that also?
Oh man, that's a lot of stuff. I'm going to have you. I didn't write it down. I'm going to have you go through it one at a time. So first of all, let's talk about your documentation for your insurance company about impact resistance. There is an actual form. It is an affidavit that needs to be completed by the roofing contractor. Okay. And it does. I'll get these calls all the time from somebody who has bought one of my clients' homes. All right, who needs documentation for their insurance company. There is a form that we use for that is essentially a sworn statement from the roofing contractor that they have installed an impact-resistant roof. It will list the manufacturer, it will list the type of roof, the color of the roof, and it will list the class rating, in your case, Class 3. So that's the first part of it is that is probably not going to suffice for your insurance company to satisfy them, okay? Your insurance company most insurance companies have their own form, and they'll tell you, oh, you need to have this filled out, and then the contractor would fill it out, sign and date it, and give it to you. So that's number one. Number two, Class 3, Class 4, that is a difference of 1/4 inch in hail impact testing. So Class 3, 1 3/4 inch, Class 4, 2 inch hail resistance. So that is the difference in Class 3 and Class 4. In Class 3, obviously, because it is less resistant to hail than Class 4, by size, you're going to get a lesser discount from your insurance company. So that's the difference in Class 3 and Class 4 is in the testing protocols. It is the size of the steel ball that is dropped on that shingle to test that shingle.
And then there was his other question had to do about 10 years.
Well, I want to make sure we've got you on hail, that you're following me there. It's simply Class 3 and Class 4, 2 different size steel ball impact tests. That's all. That's what that is.
Okay.
Okay, and obviously the Class 4 is better. And now we have Class 4 shingles that are different technologies called Flex Technologies, SBS Modified Asphalt Polymer Shingles, which are what we call severe hail rated shingles. So we're progressing even beyond the Class 4, quite honestly, Tim.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good to know. I appreciate it.
Who's your manufacturer?
I would have to go back and look at the paperwork. But it sounded like, from what we've been able to tell, it sounded like it was a good, solid Class 3 I
Sure.
just don't, off the top of my head, I don't have it here in front of me.
Well, I'll
but,
tell you that Class 3 shingle is, Class 3 shingle, properly installed, properly ventilated, is going to give you great performance. The fact that that roof's only 1 year old, the main thing that you should be concerned with, and I would not rely on your home inspector or any contractor to tell you this, the main thing that you need to make absolutely certain of is that roof is properly ventilated. Is that a spray foam deck by chance? Or does it have blown insulation in the attic?
Blown insulation.
Okay, so blown insulation. So you have a ventable attic space, and you need to make sure that your roofs are properly ventilated. I'll tell you that 99 out of 100 homes in Oklahoma are not. That because your roof's only 1 year old, you will be able to get in front of that very, very quickly and make sure that it's ventilated. Once that roof is ventilated, assuming it was properly installed, you're going to get great performance out of a Class 3 shingle. If it is not properly ventilated, no shingle is going to perform the way it should if it's not properly ventilated. That is the most critical thing, and you can affect that very positively where you're at right now. So then I think you had one more question. Oh, you talked about the warranties from the manufacturer. That's why you need to know who the manufacturer is. That warranty was transferable from the original buyer, but that transfer needs to take place with the manufacturer. Someone needs to let the manufacturer know that you are now the owner of that property.
Okay.
Okay, and that is the
follow up on your fans.
And that's the manufacturer's warranty. That is, the manufacturer's warranty is not about the performance of the shingle other than wind. They have a wind guarantee, but the manufacturer's warranty is for manufacturer's defects for up to that 25 or 50-year period of time that extended warranty applies. But you need to get someone on record that you are the owner of that property now.
Great.
Okay.
And you mentioned about the ventilation.
Uh-huh.
This particular home has multiple roof fans, and I was, of course, not knowing much about this and just trying to learn. I've heard that some of them are just, as far as temperature-wise, they kick on to move the air, and then I've heard that there's also ones that have a humidity sensor to be able to move that air, like in wintertime, et cetera.
Well, yeah, you're going to get a lot more from me than you probably wanted. It sounds like you're talking about power fans, which are I never use power fans. Doesn't mean that I'm not telling you that you can't have a properly ventilated attic with what you have. I don't like power fans because they burn electricity. I ventilate roofs passively. I let what the good Lord gave us and Mother Nature and physics take care of my roof ventilation. The formula is at least 50% intake to exhaust. You have to have intake to push the air up. So that's your soffit vents or ventilation at the bottom of the roof must be there, must be clear of insulation. The air must be able to flow. And then all of your exhaust ventilation, this is something you can walk out and look at your houses and you can see all of your exhaust ventilation should be located in the top 3 feet vertically of that roof. If you have ventilation that is not in the top 3 feet vertically of your roof, then you have a messed up ventilation system and you're going to have problems in your house.
Okay, well that's good. We do have the big gable type vents on the end of the roof. So
okay, if you I'll give you my cell phone number, and my cell phone number is 405-600-5587. 405-600-5587. If you want to walk outside, walk around your house and shoot some pictures and send them to me, I will tell you almost immediately whether you've got a ventilation problem, Tim, and we appreciate your call so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim. We got to go to break. Scotty will be calling in. We'll be talking to him. We'll get a view from his rooftop as we get to the second half of McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma. We'll be back after the news.
wish I could get a call like that every week.
In times like these, you need a strong voice that stands for freedom. That's what we do with 100,000 watts of power. We're the new Freedom 96.9 and freedom969.com. Freedom
weather. Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast. This afternoon will be sunny, breezy, and very warm with a high of 97. Tonight will be clear with a low of 73. Tomorrow, expect mostly sunny skies, breezy conditions, and continued warmth with a high of 98. Monday will be breezy with clouds and some sunshine, reaching a high of 96. Tuesday will be breezy, very warm and sunny with a high of 97. Wednesday will start breezy but turn partly sunny and very warm with a high of 96. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We interrupt our program with a special bulletin.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station.
McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air for the second half of today's live program on Freedom 96.9.
Very live.
On this date in 1913, Billboard magazine published its earliest known chart. It was titled Last Week's 10 Bestsellers Among Popular Songs. The number one song on that first Billboard Top 10, Melinda's Wedding Day. Never heard of that before. On this date in 1941, the first U.S. Army flying school for black cadets was dedicated in Tuskegee, Alabama. Now, it's up on the roof time. Scotty, hang on. Hang on there, Scotty. Hang on, Scotty.
Now it's towel and water bottle time instead of that wind. We need to change that, Randy.
Well, I'm not necessarily. This is a report from the field, but it's not a report from the rooftop.
Oh, okay. All right. At least
And
you're
I'll
safe.
say-
At least you're safe. So.
Yes. I'm on the ground. I'm actually waiting for our crew to arrive for us to begin some extensive repairs on the job.
Okay.
But who knows? They might have partied a little too hard last night or something like that.
I resemble
Maybe
that
they're just-
remark.
Yes, indeed. Well, I have to say, I know from experience now how hard it is to get on the line at Freedom 96.9, so I'm very honored to be here at
Hey,
let's see, 8:34
we can't help it
a.m.
that the switchboard fills up early here.
Well, there's only one line. I kept getting a busy tone, so I know Randy does his best to field everyone's calls, but there's only so much he can do with certain technology.
Thanks for the acknowledgement on that, Scotty. I appreciate that very much.
All right, tell us something we need to know, boy.
Well, let's see. It's going to be hot, humid. Very busy day for us on this rooftop because what we're going to do is attack a lot of flashing details that weren't necessarily done the best that they could have been, and we're going to address that. This was actually a roof that we did about a month ago. The customer loved everything we did, but Johnny did his quality check and he started nitpicking details.
Whoa, Scotty!
Hey, I think we need to.
Scotty, your signal just scrambled.
Ah.
Oh, okay. Talk to us again.
Maybe
What did
I'm
you
back.
say?
Am I back?
Kind of.
Kind of.
About a month
Okay,
ago,
well,
the customer did what?
No.
I
Johnny
was just
went
saying
out.
The customer was very pleased with our work, as were we from the ground. But then when Johnny did his quality check, he started
weren't
nitpicking
pleased.
some details.
Absolutely.
I see.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, good.
Go ahead, Scotty.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Now
Okay.
you're coming through.
And so this is the difference: is that we satisfy ourselves when we do a roof because it's our. Essentially, it is ours. We own it. We own the warranty. We own the warranty for lifetime, and it's transferable. And if there's something we don't like, we address it. And probably there's a lot of companies out there that do the same, but they may not go to the lengths that we're going to today, just to make sure that things are as tight cosmetically as they are functionally.
Yeah.
And y'all can ask me questions because I don't have much else to say. So.
Well, Scotty, I think the your point is exactly right. Is we are the professional and we are the ones who know what that should look like and how it should function and perform. Obviously, there are things that a customer will say to us, I don't like the way that looks. For instance, you may have
but that's the way it needs to be.
You may have a customer who says, I don't like the way that looks, where we run sidewall flashing and we hold it 1.5 inches up off the roof and they can see the flashing. That's why we use pre-finished flashing, so it's not that shiny galvanized. But they may say, I don't like the way that looks. I want that all the way down on top of the shingles, and we will say, get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do it. We are function first. We will make it look as, best as we can make it look, but we're not going to,
compromise function.
Exactly. We're not going to compromise function for aesthetics. You're exactly right. But what you're doing is not about function. What you're doing are things cosmetically, essentially, that we didn't like about the appearance of the roof when our crew got off of that roof.
That's right. And I'm thankful to Johnny that he obviously did a thorough job inspecting this one as Kelvin does.
Exactly.
And
the homeowner would never have known about any of this.
That's correct.
Okay.
But you said we're the professional. We have the moral and the other imperatives that we know something's right. We know it's not the best it can be. We know it is the best it can be, and we leave it the best it can be, even if it takes a tune-up to make it that way.
Hey, Scotty, what did you say? We are what?
We are professionals.
That's the word of the day.
I hope y'all have already read that.
We have. We had a decent conversation about that, son. So anyway, all right, bud.
Yeah,
well, I appreciate.
I would say one other listed synonym for professional is that they are dedicated. Dedicated not just to their craft, but dedicated to their clientele.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good, Scotty. All right, bud. I appreciate you. Thank you. And
of course, y'all be safe and have a good weekend.
Yep. You have a safe day. Love you, son.
Thank you,
Love
Scotty.
you too. Talk to y'all later.
All right.
All right.
So really, and this is back to the if we can we jump back to the code training?
Yeah.
This is very much what we talked about in the code training. I began the code training,
and just for those folks who have tuned in since you were talking about that.
So this week I did teaching for roofing inspections, roofing Chapter 9 in the International Residential Code for code officials and inspectors primarily in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Because Oklahoma City is going to start requiring permits and inspections.
Well, that's an impetus for it, but
yes.
exactly.
But they need to know this anyway.
So they're getting their CEUs and their, that kind of thing. But yes, so we're doing this training about Chapter 9, the roofing chapter in the International Residential Code. And I have to start out by saying, guys, there's a huge difference in building code and better practices and best practices and the way that maybe we do things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through this, and we did this literally. We started out with a clean deck tear-off. These guys didn't have, for the most part, because again, the only roofs that inspectors have ever looked at is in new construction.
Right.
Okay. They've never looked at a re-roof. They've never looked at a replacement. Okay. So we have to start out with the clean deck tear-off, which is required by manufacturers. The code will always say, in accordance with the provisions of this code or to the manufacturer's installation instructions or specifications. So really, manufacturer dictates, okay? Because I will tell you in almost every case, the manufacturer's requirements are going to be more stringent than what the code is. Remember, we talk about codes all the time, folks. Codes are minimal requirements. Who buys minimal? Well, unfortunately, a lot of you do unknowingly.
Right.
Okay? So we start out with clean deck tear-off. I show them what that means. I show them what everybody else calls a clean deck tear-off. I show them what my clean deck tear-off looks like. They go, oh, my God, Then we start talking about deck mending and deck replacement. I show them what that means. I show them they need to be able to see photos of this. They need to know this has been done. You have to repair the deck if you're going to apply roofing over the top of it, or you have to replace it if necessary. So we went through the decking part of it, and then we got into all the flashings. Boy, I tell you what, talk about where the rubber meets the road. Everybody, you hear the expression, the devil's in the details. Well, the details in roofing are the flashing details, okay? The details in the roofing are the flashing details, and then you get into the waterproofing, the primary. Whatever you see on your roof, that is not what keeps the water out of your house. Can I say it again? I don't care how beautiful it is. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it's shingles, metal, clay tile, slate. That is not what keeps the water out of your house. What keeps the water out of your house are the flashing details, the primary waterproofing, the secondary waterproof. That's going to be your ice and water and your underlayments. That's what keeps the water out of your house. So the devil is in the details, and the details are not what a consumer can see, and they're not what inspectors have ever looked at before. So it was pretty mind-blowing to them when we started getting into this.
I'll bet.
And then we go way beyond that into the attachment of the drip edges, proper attachment. We get into the attachment of the shingles, the ventilation requirements and all that kind of thing. Then we got into the flat or the low slope roofs. A lot of roofs out there have asphalt shingles on them that are below a 2 pitch. You can't put asphalt shingles on something below a 2 pitch according to the building code.
Oh, my.
All right? A lot of roofs have them. So I had to show them how you properly build a flat roof. Okay, and how you do that, which is more of a commercial type, but they're inspecting residents that are going to have those on them, like your house, Mr. Rick.
Yeah.
They need to know how that was supposed to be done. So anyway, it was an awesome time. We had 47 people in Oklahoma City, which was phenomenal. About 15 in Tulsa, smaller group. Had head building officials, had field inspectors, had people from big cities, small towns, all over rural Oklahoma. So we had a great week.
And with that, we'll take our final break. We'll be back after these words. Hey, our trivia question is still out there. Is it? Yeah, we haven't had anyone call on the trivia question. When inspecting the metal roof, which of the following should be considered functional damage of a hail-related impact? Storm-created opening, no matter how slight, evidence of physical deformation on a panel side, lap, or seam, marring of a material finish, significant indentation in a field panel, or all of the above.
I'll give them a tip.
405-608-4377. Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army Horse Cavalry and was stationed at Fort Bliss. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy flew a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy, on November 11, 1943, when his crew, along with 31 other bombers, destroyed a ball-bearing plant in occupied France. On a return trip, a mechanical failure caused the Yankee Doodle Dandy to drop out of formation, leaving it vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109s shot down the plane near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board, the others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 23 years of service with many awards and commendations, including the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Purple Heart, and multiple air medals. Homer Stacy McCollum, Scott McCollum's dad. Scott McCollum is McRoof. McRoof.us is owned and operated by the McCollum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to fortify your property, call McRoof.us at 405-877-4663. Ask for your complimentary roof inspection performed by a credentialed Hague residential inspector. McRoof.us, saving lives and protecting property by fortifying Oklahoma one roof at a time. McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air for the final segment of today's live show on Freedom 96.9. On this date in 1961, the first in-flight movie was shown on a TWA flight. 1961. On this date in 1967, the first air-conditioned New York City subway car made its run. Oh my goodness,
that's funny.
I can't imagine a subway without an air-conditioned car.
Yeah, oh,
it's dreadful.
Well, actually, I rode one in Paris, and it was different.
I was digging through that little box of all of my dad's stuff after he had passed away that had all of the medals and everything and little Bible and stuff that I'd never known existed that he'd never talked about, and I found his TWA commercial pilot's license that when he had gotten out of the Air Force and then he had become a commercial pilot, TWA pilot's license.
So at the top of the show, among the many certifications that I introduced you with, one of them is Hague Certified Master Level Damage Inspector. Now, you're going to give us a clue on the trivia question.
So here's the clue for the trivia question, if anyone wants to answer it. Hague is spelled H-A-A-G. So what I might do is I might go to Hague Functional Damage on Metal Roofing and see what you can find.
You better do it quickly. We only have a few minutes left in the show.
I want to get into this. I want to get into this Cedar Lake fiasco.
Yeah, Cedar Lake fiasco.
Because this ties in perfectly with the whole conversation about professional, Scotty talking about inspections and us not turning our back on stuff that we know we shouldn't be turning our back on. We go out to do a roof this week at Cedar Lake, and poor guy. I mean, it's a tough story all the way around. They're supposed to have gotten a new roof when he bought the house, and the sellers took the insurance money and ran and all this kind of stuff. They knew that the roof was a mess. So he's paying cash out of pocket for a roof that somebody else should have paid to replace. 100% disabled veteran, and our heart's just kind of like, come on, man, this quit. Anyway, so we're doing everything we can do. We knew this roof was a mess. We knew it was a mess. So we have an area of the roof that's a membrane roof, low slope roof that's horribly done. That it appears that there's some rafters that are broken. You can see it on the ceiling on the inside of the house, and you could tell from the roof. And so we knew we were going to have to. So there's a number in there for us to fix that. So I go over. Fortunately, I was the one that was there. All right, and we start tearing off. Well, the first thing we notice is we go over to this flat roof, and we stick a pitchfork under it and go to lift up to start tearing it up. And we didn't even need the pitchfork. We could literally reach down with our hand, and we pulled the roof completely off of this 400 square foot low slope roof. I mean, literally pulled it off. We pulled it off, cut a piece to put it in the dumpster, pulled it off, cut a piece, put it, literally just wasn't attached to anything. It is rolled roofing, not a mod bit roof system like yours, Rick. It was literally laying on the roof. How it had stayed on there, I have no idea.
And no adhesive to hold it down.
So we take that and get it off, and I'm looking at the roof because this is the area I'm going to have to take some decking up, figure out what's going on with the rafters, and figure out how I'm going to fix them.
Right.
Pull the first sheet of decking off to look at it, and I go, oh, my God. This is a 22 or 23-foot rafter span. They have framed this out of 2x4s that are joined, because you can't buy 23-foot 2x4s. They framed it out of 2x4s that are joined like they're just butted together.
Butted together end to end.
With a plywood gusset, which is just a piece of plywood. Well, there are ways you could have done this where it would have held. A gusset would have had to have a gallon of glue and a million nails in it. And it would have been applied on both sides like a sandwich. That's not how they did it. This is one little small piece of plywood with a couple of nails in it. Of course, they collapsed.
Right.
Okay, so the roof is coming down. So, okay. So I'm going,
and it's 2x4, not a 2x8 or 2x10.
2x4s. So, yeah, messing around with that. We get up to another part of the roof, and we start tearing off part of the roof, and all the decking is laid without it's been excuse me. It's been overlaid, okay? It's been redecked, but it was done incorrectly. It was redecked with all of the decking lined up. The joints weren't staggered. It didn't have H-clips. It wasn't properly nailed. It was done obviously by somebody who was an idiot. Right. Or it was Mo and Ron, Mo Ron. But anyway, it's one of those kind of operations. And the base flashing for the water heater or the furnace had never been replaced. It had layers of roofing and the old plank decking and this crap they had put on top of it, and it had been leaking for years. He said, "Oh yeah, we knew it was leaking. You couldn't see it in the ceiling, but when we went to replace the flooring upstairs, all the flooring upstairs was rotted. This thing been leaking for probably 40 years. Who knows?"
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because it had been leaking for 40 years and the roof wasn't ventilated, zero ventilation.
Right.
All that moisture and all that heat had disintegrated the rafters and all that plank decking underneath. Literally, it was splinters.
Oh, my.
Splinters. All the way from where that vent was all the way up to the top. Well, why would it be all the way up to the top? Heat rises. Okay? So that moisture and that heat migrated from where that leak actually was all the way up to the outside top of that shed roof, rotted everything, including the fascia board.
Oh, my.
Okay? I'm just going to tell you, folks, 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100 contractors would have covered it up with a tarp and said, "We'll see you later."
Yeah.
All right. I went downstairs, got my client, said, Gary, this is worse than we ever could have comprehended. I need to show you this. I need you to come outside. Let me show you. He said, it doesn't surprise me. He said, I don't have the money to pay for this. He said, I don't have the money to fix this. I said, Gary, I'm not worried about you not having the money to fix this. I can't cover this up. I can't put a roof on top of this. I can't dry you in and close you up. Okay? So I called my framer and sat down and wrote my material list of everything that I needed to reframe his roof, redeck his roof, and then install the roof that we intended to install. And the next day we were out there reframing his roof. Took everything. Took the 2x4s, took everything. Went inside, built temporary bracing to hold his ceiling up, went back up, tore everything off. 2x6s framed, 13'6". There was a wall inside that you could have braced off of. 2x6s, pony wall bracing. 8-foot 2x6s from there on up to the top. There's a wall at that point to brace off of. Now his roof is perfect, beautiful. Installed our 2-ply mod bit roof on there, went back and finished all of our shingle roofs. The other part, took care of all the rot and the damage, vented his roof, and now he's taken care of.
Good.
And, we'll figure out the money piece of it, or we won't. Doesn't matter.
And now, after the storm. That was a storm of a different type.
That was a storm of a different type. And unfortunately, folks, I want you to understand, every time a contractor tears your roof off, I guarantee you they're discovering something that needs to be addressed. And if they're not coming to you and telling you that they're addressing something and telling you what that might cost to do correctly, they're probably covering it up. They're probably covering it up.
All right. So,
after the storm, man,
yeah,
I think the storms, I think all the shouting's about over with, okay? I think we're going to be hot and dry for a while.
There's no rain in the forecast to speak of.
So what that means is it's now time that everybody who hasn't done this spring, it's now time to get that roof inspected. We need to come out. We need to Chris needs to come fly the bird, or Chris or Jesse need to come fly the bird. We need to look at what's going on your roof, see if there's any indications of anything that we need to put boots on the roof and figure out for you. Maybe there's a repair that needs to be done. Quite possibly your roof is not properly ventilated and you still have a roof that is viable, that has some reasonable life expectancy left to it. We need to correct your ventilation and move on. I want to talk to everybody out there that has a flat roof or a commercial roof of any time. It could be residential or it can be commercial. If you've had water forever and no one's ever figured it out, no one's ever solved your problem, they brought a 5-gallon bucket of tar, or they brought a tube of this, that, or the other, Pookie we call it, okay? If that's what you've always gotten, call us. Let us do a thermal scan of your structure. We will know exactly where the issue is, be able to go in and destructively remove areas to see what's going on, and I guarantee you we will solve your problem once and for all, and that is guaranteed for life.
And that guarantee comes from Roof RX at 405-877-7663. Hey, before we go, I have to say one more time that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing.
Wow.
And I'm told to ask for a thermal scan when you have that inspection, that aerial inspection.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. So, Dad's wisdom.
I am as bad as the worst, but thank God I am as good as the best. Walt Whitman.
Walt Whitman. Well, this has been episode number 16 of McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma.
Answer to the trivia question.
Answer to the trivia question.
The answer is E, all of the above.
We'll be back next week with another edition of McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma on Freedom 96.9. Freedom 96.9. Thank you, Scott McCullum. Thank you, Retro Radio Randy. Thank you, Scotty McCullum out in the field. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We'll be back next week.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tim, and stay cool.
KQOP Enid, Oklahoma City. Make the right choice and keep tuned to the new Freedom 96.9, your first choice for talk radio in Oklahoma.